Let me concur with much of what Mr. Lynch just said. Mr. Walker, if I could, in your report, you discuss a poll done in March of 2006 of Iraqi citizens, and your report states, and I quote, that the poll indicated that a majority thought Iraq was heading in the wrong direction, and growing numbers of people believe that the security situation, the provision of electricity, and corruption have worsened. And later you indicate that your report says bluntly, quote, essential services have not been restored to pre-war levels, undermining efforts to improve the lives of the Iraqi people. If you could you elaborate on your sense of how the Iraqi people perceive their reality today? The President of the United States seems to think that every time there is a negative report, that it's the media's fault. The media is not telling us the truth about all of the wonderful things that are happening in Iraq, but it seems that the people of Iraq do not perceive all of the wonderful things that are happening there as well. What is your perception of how the Iraqi people themselves feel about how things are going with regard to essential services and other aspects which impact their day-to-day lives?
Mr. Saunders, based upon my trips to Iraq and the work that our teams have done, including their visits to Iraq, my view is that the Iraqi people care about basically the same type of things that most Americans care about. They want safe streets, they want good jobs, they want reliable electricity, they want safe water, they want the trash picked up, they want education and health care, basic things. When you look at the statistics, while we've made progress on a number of fronts, with the sole exception of electric generation, which for the first time within the last month has now reached and exceeded pre-war levels, for the most part in many of these other areas we're below pre-war levels. And that doesn't go unnoticed by the Iraqi people. Candidly, in many ways I think we're asking the military to do too much. And that's why I come back and reinforce what I said in my opening statement. We need better metrics, we need better milestones, we need more transparency, and both the United States and the international community, and I underline, and the international community, can and should be doing more to help the Iraqis help themselves deliver these types of needs to the Iraqi people. These are non-military. These are the need for civilian experts, and quite frankly, the UN and many other countries have experts that could add a tremendous value here, but they haven't been forthcoming.
Mr. Walker, if I could just change the subject just a hair, and that is earlier in response to a question, you spoke about massive corruption with regard to oil production and distribution. I would like you to say a word with regard to what is going on in terms of reconstruction of Iraq, in terms of the kinds of buildings and improvement in sewers, in water, in schools, in hospitals, and all these other things that we want to see. I would suggest that regardless of one's opinion on the war, and I strongly oppose the war, that the American people who are putting billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars into Iraq at least want to see an Iraqi infrastructure created where the kids there can go to school, where people can drink clean water and so forth, and have the other amenities of life that you indicated the Iraqi people want just as much as the people in America want. Now, what is the level of incompetence, of abuse, of waste? I read somewhere that some $9 billion was unaccounted for in terms of Iraqi reconstruction. Can you say a word on that?
Well, several things. One, when you have an unstable security environment, it impedes your ability to reconstruct as well as to maintain what has been reconstructed. Secondly, the Iraqis have limited capability to maintain certain more technologically advanced facilities, whether it's electric generation facilities or water treatment plants or whatever else. That has been a problem. Thirdly, in some of the planning that has been done, the planning for reconstruction activities has been somewhat flawed. For example, there's a well-publicized example of where we were going to build 100 to 200 health care facilities, clinics, if you will, and that rather than trying to build 10 here and seeing how it goes and then 10 there, there was an effort undertaken to build, to start virtually all of them at once, to where very few got completed before the money ran out. And so there are a number of planning problems, there are a number of mismanagement problems, but the security situation, as well as the relative inability of the Iraqis to maintain certain more advanced facilities, is very problematic.
Well, you know, no one would disagree with you that the security situation will make construction very, very difficult, and reconstruction. But on the other hand, there should not be billions of dollars unaccounted for in the process. The American people want to make sure that when we invest in rebuilding Iraq, we know where that money is going. Can you speak a little bit about billions of dollars which presumably have not been accounted for?
Well, what I would ask Mr. Sanders, and I would suggest to the chairman for his consideration as he deem appropriate, is that not only will I provide the information that we talked about before, but I think it would be productive for this subcommittee, to the extent the chairman believes it would be prudent, to consider having a hearing where myself, the Special Inspector General for Iraq for reconstruction, and possibly others might come before this subcommittee to talk specifically about construction activities.
Okay. All right, I would yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will be happy to pursue that suggestion.